Outdoors Delmarva covers everything outdoors, including real fishing and hunting situations involving wildlife. We do our best each week to bring you tasteful content, but viewer discretion is advised. Now, enjoy the show.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
On this week's episode, we'll take a field trip to Prime Hook National Wildlife Refuge in Milton. We'll jingle all the way down to the Wicomico Yacht Club. Visit with an antique tool collector in Scorchy's Corner. Make a quick trip to Bridgeville for a fall tradition. And take a peek at history at Fort Miles in Lewis.
Welcome to Outdoors Delmarva, the show dedicated to a commitment of conservation and to the community that makes Delmarva's outdoors such a hidden gem here in the Mid-Atlantic region. My name is Jason Lee, and I'd really like to know how we got to the first weekend in November, because it was 4th of July just like last week, right?
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. And now, here's Jason Lee.
For me, the best part of school were the field trips. And today, I get to take a field trip to Prime Hook National Wildlife Refuge to do a bit of bird watching.
Prime Hook National Wildlife Refuge in Milton was one of several field trips scheduled for Delmarva Birding Weekend's OktoBIRDfest. Now, admittedly, I've never found myself much of a bird watcher. But I had a feeling that our field trip guides, Anthony Gonzon and Chris Bennett, were going to do their best to help me find one of my new favorite hobbies.
My name is Anthony Gonzon. I've been doing Delmarva birding festivals for, it's probably been close to 10, 12 years now. I've been birding Delaware all my life. I'm a lifelong Delawarean, so there's not too many places I haven't been here before.
My name is Chris Bennett, and unlike Anthony, I am not a lifelong Delawarean, though I have now lived in Delaware longer than I've lived anywhere else. I've been here 26 years, and like Anthony, I've birded most of Delaware, Prime Hook, I tend to concentrate my birding. I live up in Milford, so I bird typically from here up to about Bombay Hook, and recently sticking mostly in the Milford area. This trip, it's mostly walking. We're going to walk the Dyke Trail, the Boardwalk Trail, and then depending on how much time we have after that, go out to one of the other locations here in the refuge and see what we can find. It's right now the tail end of songbird migration, but there's still a nice mix of warblers around, though you have to pick through big flocks of yellow rumps to find the odd other warbler. But and sparrows have started showing up, so we should have a good day today. Hopefully we'll see some waterfowl and other water birds, but should be a good day.
Chris is a great eye birder, so he sees a lot more than I do. I tend to be the better ear birder, if you will. So between the two of us, Chris likes to joke around and say we make one complete birder.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of them are probably local birds, but with great blue heron that was in the tree is the one that's behind these two right here. The one in the front is a young bird. You can see it's a little paler gray. It's got those big white patches on the wing. So you had an adult bird that was perched in the tree, probably considers this whole area his feeding territory, and he chased that young bird away. So the young bird is continuing to go off to the left. The adult bird peeled off, and now it's flying back. A bird like that, when its head is facing forward and its neck is kind of pulled down as far in, it's not going to appear to be its full length.
Okay. We also have the red-headed woodpecker, which is probably our rarest breeding woodpecker or resident woodpecker here.
We saw one last week. We live in Maryland.
Along with the field trip to Prime Hook National Wildlife Refuge, Delmarva Birding Weekend's OktoBIRDfest included trips to Caroline County for birding and boating the Harriet Tubman Byway, birding and biking Cape Henlopen State Park and Delaware Seashore State Park, And though the field trips to Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge and the Mispillion Inlet were canceled due to inclement weather, there were more than 100 different species of birds observed. Delmarva Birding Weekends have a couple more events for 2022. The next field trip scheduled for Saturday, November 12th for Delaware Bayshore birding. A couple of events for 2023 are already scheduled, and you can find out more by going to delmarvabirding.com.
Still to come, we'll fill our bellies with a fall tradition in Bridgeville. We'll also remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice with a look at the Oil Still Bleeds exhibit at Fort Miles in Lewis. But after the break, we'll make our way down to the Wicomico Creek to get a preview of this year's Wicomico Yacht Club's Toys for Tots Boat Parade. Outdoors Delmarva, we'll be right back.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Welcome back to Outdoors Delmarva. Now I know it's only the first weekend in November, but it's already the first weekend in November. The holidays are just a blink away, and in order to make Christmas morning just a bit more magical for the children on Delmarva, the Wicomico Yacht Club needs your help. I caught up with Scott McCurdy to get all the details on this year's Toys for Tots Boat Parade.
Well, this is our 35th annual Toys for Tots Wicomico Yacht Club Christmas Boat Parade, and we've teamed up with Toys for Tots probably about 15 years ago, and we've been collecting toys ever since. It's a great event for the whole community. You can see it anywhere along the river, from the Wicomico Yacht Club all the way to downtown. We start up in town at the Port of Salisbury Marina at about 5:30 in the evening, and then we make a couple of passes downtown for the crowd down there, and then we move downriver and end up down here. And there's normally a crowd of people at various locations all along the river. We had some members many years ago who saw the Fort Lauderdale Boat Parade way back in the 80s, and they came back one spring and said, you know, next fall we ought to do one ourselves. And that's how it ended up. We just started, and I've been in every one but one. We want to collect as many toys as possible, and we make a real effort to reach out to the Toys for Tots organization to find out what it is they really need, and that's what we try to concentrate on. We have become one of their biggest collection events in this part of the shore over the last 15 years, and we, obviously we want to get bigger, not smaller. We'll accept toys here at the club anytime that we're open. Any member of the club will be tickled to death to get toys from any organization or person that wants to donate. So it's we try to make it easy, not hard. You can contact the yacht club by telephone, and we'll get back to you. We do have some local businesses. Brew River has some collection boxes. Baywater Farms has some collection boxes. And Allen Lions Club, we have collection boxes at the Allen Community Center also. So we're trying to get out there and spread our net as wide as possible.
The need for toys is up, so the participation needs to go up along with it. And we absolutely would like to have more boats in the boat parade. You do not have to be a member of the Wicomico Yacht Club to join in on the fun. As long as you have a boat that floats, you're welcome to join us. We'll even give you a slip here for the night, so you don't have to pull it out after dark. You're welcome to go onto our Facebook page, Wicomico Yacht Club, or the website, or give us a call, and we are happy to share the information with you, and we'll make sure we can guide you every step of the way.
And Scott certainly didn't want us to forget about that famous roast beef dinner that's coming up.
The 62nd annual Allen Roast Beef Dinner, which will be held Sunday, November 13th, and it starts at 11:30 in the morning and goes till 2:30 in the afternoon. It's carry out only. But all the famous Allen fixins will be there, the macaroni and cheese, the roast beef that's truly cooked in a pit, and the stewed tomatoes. It's all going to be there, and we're looking forward to another big year.
The treasurer for the Allen Lions Club, Frank Knowles, gave us the rundown on how all of that tasty pit beef is made.
What we do here at this specific place is we have these brick-lined pits, and what we'll do is we will burn wood all day long Saturday, and on Saturday evening between 11 and midnight The fire company comes up to help us, and we put a little bit layer of sand, aluminum foil, put the beef in, then these cement covers here get put on top of the pits. We cover it over with tarps. We let it sit all night, and we pull that delicious beef off about 6:30 in the morning. Then go to the Facebook page, get more information, have a phone number that you can contact for people to get tickets. We urge people to please get tickets beforehand. It helps us with planning, as well as that we don't want to have somebody come that day and we'd be sold out.
We're getting into the festive season early, and we're doing it right here at the Wicomico Yacht Club, bringing happiness and cheer to kids all across Delmarva as we have another Toys for Tots drive and a boat parade coming your way. But before we go,
Get outdoors, Delmarva, and bring a toy.
if you'd like to get into the spirit of giving, all you got to do is go to wicomicoyachtclub.com to get all the information. Coming up after the break, we'll head back to Scorchy's Corner, where a Georgetown man's love for antique tools is on full display. Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru and sponsored by Shorts Marine. We'll be right back.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Shorts Marine.
If you've ever heard of or even used the phrase, "they don't make them like they used to," then this trip back to Scorchy's Corner will be right up your alley.
Honoring the life and legacy of Scorchy Taws, thanks to Shorts Marine in Long Neck, Delaware. Shorts Marine, everything but the water.
Bob Green, a retired carpenter, loves antique tools. Loves them so much he has built a retirement home for his collection in the recreation room of his Georgetown home. Bob Green got into collecting quite by accident, not by design.
I came on some my grandfather's tools that started me in the collection, and they were going to be thrown away, so I salvaged them from the pile and brought them in and cleaned them up, and that's got me. I started on the road of saving.
Bob Green's love of old tools, however, just may have been ingrained.
Worked with my grandfather a lot when I was in 13, 14-year-old, and going to school. I would work days off with him, and also my father, of course, and laid floor for the CC camps back when I was 13 years old.
All of which, of course, makes Bob a third-generation builder, and the saws used by each of those three generations occupy a place of prominence. Bob Green's collection is immaculate, varied, and ongoing.
Go to sales. They have a lot of sales around, and yard sales, and antique stores. And anything unusual is what I'm into now, unusual tools. I want them old and that's usable, still usable. They have to be usable, or I don't want them. This brace was made in Sheffield, England, who made the swords and razor blades still, and I don't know what else they make now. Sheffield people, and they're real famous. Go back to 1600s.
The antique tool collection of Bob Green, each seemingly in the ghostly grasp of those whose creations they once shaped, will not be in the family forever. He promised his grandson he will sell it to pay for his college education. His grandson is now 13. Until that time, he will go on collecting, because to Bob Green, there's no tool like an old tool. Scorchy Taws, wandering our Delmarvelous land for WBOC News.
Remembering Scorchy Taws is presented by Shorts Marine, online at shortsmarine.com.
Did you know that Prime Hook National Wildlife Refuge was established in 1963 by President John F. Kennedy? Did you know that Fowler Beach, which sits along the eastern edge of the refuge, is an official sanctuary for horseshoe crabs? And did you know that the refuge supports more than 260 species of birds? Now you do.
Did You Know is sponsored by North Bay Marina. Outdoors Delmarva will be right back. You're watching Outdoors Delmarva presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Welcome back to Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. My name is Jason Lee, and there are some fall traditions you just have to check off your list.
The annual Apple Scrapple Festival in Bridgeville is a fall tradition uniquely Delmarva. 2022 marks 30 years for the festival, and I personally don't remember the weather being any more perfect than it was back on October 15th. The town of Bridgeville and its citizens aren't the only ones who come for the apple fritters and scrapple sandwiches, as folks from far and wide make their way to western Sussex County to enjoy a day of family fun. The Apple Scrapple Festival has grown from 2,500 visitors in 1992 to now well over 20,000. From carnival rides to the car show, food vendors, craft and trade shows, games for the kids, and live music for all, the annual Apple Scrapple Festival in Bridgeville has something for everyone. There's no better way to kick off the fall season than with Apple Scrapple. And if you're like me, you're already looking forward to next year. You can stay in the know with all the happenings for the festival by going to the website applescrapple.com or by following them on Facebook. As we approach Veterans Day and the anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, I encourage you to pay a visit to Fort Miles in Lewis for the Oil Still Bleeds exhibit. More than 100 Delawareans served at Pearl Harbor when it was bombed on December 7, 1941. The centerpiece of the exhibit is a 900-pound deck piece from the USS Arizona, which was sunk in Pearl Harbor as a result of the attack by Japan that launched the United States into World War II. The exhibit was opened to unveil this unique relic and to honor those from Delaware that were there on that day of infamy. Of those more than 100 Delawareans, 22 are featured in an interactive tribute to their heroic deeds. Other artifacts on display at the museum are a 16-inch gun barrel from the USS Missouri, along with pictures, uniforms, and the story of how Delaware supported the war efforts in the early 40s. The Oil Still Bleeds exhibit is free to the public and is on display through the end of the year. To find out more, go to fortmilesha.org.
Coming up after the break, we'll wrap up the show with your viewer photos and videos thanks to our friends at North Bay Marina. Outdoors Delmarva, we'll be right back.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Shorts Marine.
Welcome back to Outdoors Delmarva. Time to flip through the photo album and take a look at the latest photos you sent in thanks to our friends at North Bay Marina.
Erica Hurley got her first bow harvest with this 10-pointer in Newark, Maryland. But she's no stranger to the show. This was her trophy rockfish from back in early May. 15-year-old Corey Brummel of Dorchester County harvested this 100-pound doe with his crossbow. You're on your way to big things, Corey. And there's nothing quite as peaceful as a little shoreline fishing at Roaring Point Campground in Nanticoke, Maryland.
Outdoors Delmarva viewer pictures are sponsored by North Bay Marina.
Well, that's our show for this week. Remember to keep sending in those photos and videos by emailing us at outdoors@wboc.com. And don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Please join us again right here next week. And until then, I hope to see you outdoors, Delmarva.
Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Shorts Marine. Everything but the water.